Welcome to Diversity Dialogue here at the Thomas K. McKeon Center for Creativity. I'm Rebecca Marks Jimerson. And this segment, my guest, my illustrious guest, Dr. Jocelyn Payne, the Executive Director of the John Hope Center for Reconciliation, and Mr. Bob Weber, board member.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all so much for joining me. And, you know, when we think about the John Hope Center for Reconciliation, first off, we have so many viewers who are probably saying, what is that? So, Dr. Payne, what is the John Hope Center for Reconciliation?
The John Hope Franklin Center for Reconciliation is a community endeavor. We are a multiracial, multi-religious, multi-varied organization that seeks to bring Tulsans together across all of the barriers that divide us, most prominently the racial barrier, but across all the barriers of language, of religion, all the barriers that divide us. That's what we seek to effect. We want to change social barriers into social harmony.
Now, when you talk about those social barriers, I mean, they've been going on for years, and when we look at the history, let's look at the history of the organization, John Hope. Did that name, when we think of that name, and I'm looking at a place card on John Hope Franklin, why now?
Well, the organization has been around for quite a while. The organization was established before 2008 when the Reconciliation Park project was officially kicked off the ground with the groundbreaking. But before that, the decision was made, the realization was made that Tulsa, among many other cities, but Tulsa especially, needed to give some attention, some energy, some effort to activities that would bring the city together. A lot of focus has been placed on the impact of the 1921 Tulsa race riot as helping to foment some of those divisions that we want to bridge across. But lots of other things have added to those divisions as well. And the community realized early in the early 2000s, around the time of the report from the commission that was formed to study the 1921 Tulsa race riot, the leaders in the community realized we have to do something about this. Without doing something about it, this community, this city, will never realize its highest potential. We're not accessing all of the talent. Dr. Franklin was one of the most prolific historians of the 20th century. He was one of the most impactful. He was one of the most eminent and esteemed historians of that period. And we were fortunate, because he is from Tulsa, we were fortunate that he was willing to give his name to that endeavor.
Now, you know, we talk about the racial barriers and so many people, and this is why, you know, we're here to talk about the annual dinner, but also about the history and the information and programs and services that you all are doing all the time. So Bob, you're over here sitting like, okay, I'm just a board member. But Bob, why did you get involved?
Well, I feel that the potential's there for everybody to do better if we get to know each other. And I was very fortunate in some ways. I was born in New York City. Now, being born in New York City, that's a melting pot, okay? So I was very comfortable around other ethnicities. I had Puerto Rican friends, I had African American friends, I had Jewish friends, I had Catholic friends. And when I moved down here in 1980, Sister Sylvia first introduced me to the 1921 race riot and some of the things that Dr. Payne was talking about. And for quite some time, I wanted to get involved in a structured way rather than just Bob Weber's way. And it came about through a friend of mine who was a friend of my daughter's that, you know, they're looking for a new board member. I said, hey, Bob Weber is willing to step up. The thing I love about it is the openness. The John Hope Franklin Center wants everybody to understand that we're all human beings and that we all have potential, and let's get along, let's get to know each other, which is a great reason to go to this dinner, because, I mean, you meet some folks that you might never meet again in your life unless you make an effort. And that's it. You got to make the effort.
You got to make the effort. And you know, you're talking about the dinner, and that dinner is going to be Thursday, November 19th at the Greenwood Cultural Center, which is located at 322 North Greenwood Avenue. The gathering begins at 6:30 and dinner and the program at 7. And who is the speaker, by the way?
Rilla Askew is our featured speaker this year. We are so proud.
Oh, wow. And give our audience a little information about her.
Rilla Askew is an Oklahoma-born author. She is actually a fifth-generation Oklahoman. She has written 4 novels, the second of which was entitled Fire in Beulah. And it's a novel that is set in the time of the 1921 Tulsa Race Riot. And for many people, I'm guessing, when they read that book, was the first time that they were able to put full-blown detailed images with whatever they knew about the 1921 Tulsa Race Riot. Yes. In 2007, Fire in Beulah was selected as the Oklahoma Centennial Selection for Oklahoma Reads. It's a big book.
Wow.
And we are more than happy to have her join us on the evening of the 19th. She's teaching at the University of Oklahoma right now. So they're getting to have her presence a lot. But we are thrilled to bring her to Tulsa.
Wow. You know, reading on the press release, set in historic Greenwood District, the dinner provides an intimate occasion for citizens of Tulsa, young and old, to come together like families of generations past to break bread together and enjoy each other's company. That really touched me, and sharing a vision of reconciliation for Tulsa and our nation. That's very deep, very heavy.
Especially young people, I would say, Rebecca. I mean, this is, I'm in my 70s, and, you know, I've lived most of my life, but for people in their 30s and 40s, like some of my children, okay, this is the future, to get along with each other and cooperate and just make life better for each other.
Wow.
I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity to meet other people.
Yeah, and it looks, I mean, the breaking bread, and tickets are $20 for adults and $10 for students.
Yes.
So very affordable. Something that I'm just envisioning this large table, and we're just passing the bread around.
Well, we actually use family-style dining for the dinner for that very reason, because if you don't ask and you don't reach out to participate with other people at your table, you might not get the full meal because it's all passed. So we encourage the interaction that we say we want by making it an integral part of the dinner. The one thing that we remind people is that we don't sell tables to the dinner. We appreciate donations, and we appreciate groups that want to bring a large number of people and buy a large number of tickets.
Yes.
But we sell tickets and seats at the dinner, because the one thing that we ask of everyone who comes is sit with someone you don't know.
I love that.
The intention of the dinner is to bring people together. Most of the large gala benefit dinners that are held around town, by a table worth, everybody from work goes to sit at the table, same people that you were talking to several hours before, or we'll talk with again several hours later, all sitting at the table. It's really nice, not to say that there's anything against that. But what we want is to bring people together who would not ordinarily be together, who might not automatically have things about which they can talk. But we give them something. We give them food. Got to talk about the food to get it. and you have the opportunity to meet new people, make
talk.
new acquaintances, and through our initiative for continued conversations, you can keep up those connections. We have a monthly community conversation that began as a way to encourage people who maybe had met at the dinner, talked a little bit at the dinner, wanted to meet up again. We provide a vehicle for doing that through our monthly community conversations.
And these are actually going on?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're a part of one of these?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I try to make every monthly meeting.
How
I've missed a
great
few,
is
but
that?
not many.
Oh, wow.
And it's a very open discussion. I mean, it's
You can talk about whatever issues, things that are going on, current, community, local, national.
Yeah, you know, you try to bring up local items which you think you can have some effect on, because the last one, I think there was about 15, excuse me, 15 people, and everybody gets a chance to speak. We go around the table, and if you're a little off subject, that's okay. You're there as an invited guest, you know, the community conversation, and you get a chance to speak up. And isn't that what it's about, getting to know each other?
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're going to be back with more discussion about the John Hope Center for Reconciliation with Dr. Jocelyn Payne and Bob Weber. And while we're taking this break, we're going to show some of those historical Tulsans who have made a difference and creating the John Hope Center. So don't go away. We'll be back with more of Diversity Dialogue here at the Thomas K. McKeon Center for Creativity. Welcome back to Diversity Dialogue here at the Thomas K. McKeon Center for Creativity. I'm Rebecca Marks Jimerson, and boy, are we having a discussion, conversation, which can only be had at the John Hope Franklin Center for Reconciliation. Their executive director, Dr. Jocelyn Payne, is here along with Bob Weber. Let's talk. Let's conversate about the dinner. The dinner is coming up November 19th, and it will be at the Greenwood Cultural Center, and I will be there.
Wonderful.
I would love to conversate. So what else is going to be there? You have the speaker.
We have the speaker. We will have our honorary chairs. Sam and Rita Combs will be present, and they will be part of our program. We have Ariel Jenkins, who is a student at University of Central Oklahoma. She is also a member of the Caddo tribe, and Ariel will be present to perform the Lord's Prayer in Native American Sign Language. We have also Terry Hood will be our Master of Ceremonies. That's not an add-on. That's a beginning point for us. And John W. Franklin, Dr. John Hope Franklin's son, will be part of the program. He will be coming to us from Washington, where he is an executive with the Smithsonian Museum, and he will be introducing our guest speaker.
Oh, wow. I mean, and this is just one of the many events that you all do year-round. And as executive director, Dr. Payne, I mean, I know you're running here, running there, all over. You have so many programs and services, and working with the colleges, and you yourself being a former professor at NSU, and do a shout out to all her students, okay, that she has mentored. What is your passion? What drives you to keep this going?
The idea that we can be a part of helping everyone realize their full potential, and then in turn, because we have helped on the individual level, that we can help this community develop its full potential for achievement, is really what keeps me going. I'm from Tulsa.
You're from Tulsa. I was going to say
I've lived in
yes.
Tulsa a good part of my life, not my whole life, but I've lived in Tulsa a good part of my life. I'm a product of Tulsa Public Schools. And the idea that I can play a role in making a positive difference in this community, that's what keeps me going.
Wow. I salute you. My hat's off to you, because when I heard you were coming back, I said, who better? Someone who's a native, who knows what's going on. And Bob, tell me, as a board member, I mean, how big is the board?
I think it's about 23 members, if I remember correctly.
Very active.
Yes,
very active.
and very diverse. We have African Americans, European Americans, females, males, and so it's very diverse, and it's a very interesting board meeting because Chairman Pegues runs it very openly, but yet structured. He doesn't want to waste anybody's time, but yet he is interested in hearing what folks have to say, and that's really a nice way to run a board. I've been on some other ones, and I was a board secretary, and I'll never do that again.
Oh,
I'm sorry. It's refreshing. The refreshing part of it to me is to understand that little by little, maybe inch by inch, foot by foot, we're making headway. And this is important because we're dealing with the ethnicity and things that have happened in the past, and there's hard feelings. It doesn't need to be. If you just open your heart and open your mind a little, it can be very, very fruitful and very, very pleasing.
Well, you know, on light of what you just said, and I want to ask both of you this question, do you think that the John Hope Franklin Center has made a difference? You know, when people tend to think about the John Hope Franklin Center, they connected with the 1921 race riot, and that it's not inclusive of everyone's struggle, social justice struggle. Has there been an impact? Has it been felt?
I hope there has been. The center has been delivering programming in this community now for several years. And from the beginning, the effort has been made to include everyone in all of those programs in the hope that everyone has an opportunity to learn something new, either about themselves, about the community, about some element of history. And so I would hope, yes, that the programming and all of the efforts of the center have made a positive difference. I think that eventually we will again survey, I know that eventually we will again survey the community to see whether those differences are measurable. But in the meanwhile, we are hopeful that, as Bob pointed out, the simple act of getting to know someone that you didn't already know, someone who is different from you, will help you build a bridge of understanding with other people. Part of why communities are divided, part of why we have social divisions, is people become very comfortable in the settings that they're accustomed to and don't realize necessarily that they're hearing a lot of the same things reiterated to them over and over without new input. We hope to offer programs and activities, opportunities to get new ways of thinking, to have new encounters with different people and find out that I may not look like you, but we're facing some of the same issues in our community. I may not have the same history as you, but the more you understand about my history, the more likely it is that you'll understand some more about me rather than decide that I am somebody who's this way. And then you realize, well, no, maybe not. Maybe a little bit more, knowing a little bit more about me lets you understand that I'm not that way for just no reason. There are things that have impacted how we are, and we want to bring those forward. That's part of our conversation. We want to bring those forward. But we also want them to become something that people can work with.
I know, Dr. Payne, you're talking about, you know, bringing people together and the roots and how they're different. And I was reading, I think a year ago, about one of your relatives, and I always knew that there was that Native American influence that you have in your family. And so that really plays an important role in bridging the gap, because so many Native Americans and African Americans, that mix, that is a true culture in Oklahoma that a lot of people don't understand.
That's true. That's true.
The program for the dinner includes.
I see that, and that's why I was thinking
Native
about
American
that,
and
right?
African American.
And also you all are going across the lines as far as religion. Because right now that is such a big issue, and looking at your board, you have the Jewish community, Islamic, Muslim, every Protestant, Catholic, everyone is at the table.
We believe that everyone has to be at the table. Part of what made Dr. Franklin the historian, the prominent historian that he was that he took a different view of history from what had been taken before he began his work. He said, if we're going to talk about a period of time and talk about what went on during that period, we have to talk about everyone who was there. We have to include everyone who was there, whether they were at the table at that time or not. If they were there, we have to include them. And that idea of inclusiveness, the idea of someone who was broad-minded enough to have grown up in racially segregated Tulsa, to have experienced the things that he experienced as a young man here in Tulsa in the decade after the 1921 Tulsa race riot, and to come out of an educational process with that outlook, that's really powerful.
Yes.
And if we apply that thinking even today, I mean, there are a lot of things that we take for granted that grow out of that. But if we are conscientious and apply that today, we see things differently. We come to see things, we hope we come to see things differently.
Right, and that's what it's all about, is changing a person's recordings.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And and the theme of this year's dinner is media, and so it's very apropos that we talk about it, and the media has a role to play, as we brought up in our last symposium and here today, in getting the word out. But we must remember that just because we are different in the media doesn't mean that we should be and remain separate.
And right, and it's bringing together and the conversation, because people don't talk. If they have something they want to talk about, it's like, well, I'd like to bring it up,
or you're talking and I'm already thinking about what I'm going to say back to you, instead of really listening.
Really listening.
Really listening.
Hearing and not listening.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So this dinner, which this is the third annual? The sixth. Oh, wow. The 6th annual dinner of the John Hope Franklin Center for Reconciliation. My guest here, Dr. Jocelyn Payne and Bob Weber. We want you to join us. November 19th at the Greenwood Cultural Center, 6:30 p.m., dinner and the program at 7. Tickets are $20 and $10 for students. It's a gathering, a breaking of bread where we're going to have conversations, and maybe I'll get to be at your group. But I won't be at your group because we already know each other now, right?
Yes, yes.
You could come visit the table.
I can come visit. I could come by, and I always like to visit the table.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you all for being my guest. And you all be at the dinner November 19th. I'll be there, the John Hope Franklin Center for Reconciliation dinner, November 19th at 6:30 at the Greenwood Cultural Center. And we'll run, for more information, Jean Marie Neal at 918-295-5009. We'll run that on the screen. I'm Rebecca Marks Jimerson. Thank you for joining me for Diversity Dialogue here at the Thomas K. McKeon Center for Creativity. I'll see you next time. Bye.